And now we'd like to welcome up a talented actor and a wonderful human.
She's absolutely iconic. Lily Goldman for her senior speech.
There is a certain cyclicality to this world. I mean, it's called the circle of life for a reason, isn't it? We are all born onto this more or less spherical planet with the full intention never to stop moving forward. We crawl, then we walk, then we run, and then we climb, and then we learn, and we learn, and we learn. And this will go on until one day when your body falls apart. It will decompose and your skin will disintegrate and you will fall away, right back into the earth. You will become recycled and reused and you will begin again. But of course it won't be you. You will be gone. Not gonna lie, that fact is kind of a very scary one. Accepting the fact that one day you will just simply be no more has driven many of us to create stories and higher powers and rules to try and make that transition easier. In no way is there anything wrong with that. If anything, it's just a beautiful example of the capacities of the human mind, how we can take something so definitive and make it just another step on our journey. But even so, it enforces the reality that there is nothing new on this earth. We are all just stuck here following the paths that were set for us long before we took our first breaths. I say all of these lofty and self-important sounding things from a place of complete ignorance, though. I say them because I know nothing. I say them because I need to hear them myself. I need to remember that this world will never be stagnant. No matter how it feels, there will always be another moment, until there isn't. And that's perfectly okay. But until then, it is always going to get better and it is always going to get worse. But that's just it. It is always, always, always going to change. When I was a little girl, I despised change. I kept every trinket, every rock, every piece of clothing because I was scared that if I were to let go of something I loved, I would never find that love again. I was full of fear. On the day I moved out of the house I spent my first 6 years of life in, I cried for hours. I made my parents let me go room to room and say goodbye to each one. I was scared that I was going to forget. I wanted to make sure that each of my memories knew there was place in my head and my heart for them. I didn't want them to be worried about being left behind. But what I know now is that memories that really mean something have a funny way of sticking around. To this day, I still remember reading Peter Pan and the fig trees in my backyard and the tiny window that lives in the shower with the goldfish shower curtain and petting my cat Fred in a patch of sunlight in the laundry room. All through my life, I have been wary of change. I have worried tirelessly about what lies ahead. I don't trust the things I don't know. I mean, how can I? How am I supposed to put my faith into something I cannot see or feel when the things I am experiencing in the present are so real and so steady? How am I supposed to be okay with that? Those are the questions I'm constantly at war with. I'm constantly trying to balance those worries and fears with rationality and realism, trying to soak up the fact that life is constant change and there is no reason to fear it. This is a battle I have only just begun. I have only just started to feel the change in my fingers and my toes. I'm starting to notice the facts being drawn into my body little by little, day by day. But that doesn't mean I have stopped worrying. No, I am still terrified. But I'm also excited. I know that with change and uncertainty comes opportunity and growth. The terror that has been steadily churning inside of me for as long as I can remember has at times turned my brain into what can only be described as a shaky mess of cottage cheese. It has left me trembling and my eyes damp and my hands clenched. It has left me breathless with open palms and nothing but a feverish dark all around me. But that place, that feeling, that mindset is also the reason that I believe that loving with all you have is the only way to live. I know from experience that being free with your love is one of the most difficult things a person can do. Allowing your most squishy and tender insides to be looked at and poked and examined by the world can be extremely uncomfortable. Sometimes that beautiful ball of light that is in all of us can get poked a little too hard. There are people out there that don't remember how to treat love. They are rough and careless with it, and far too many times that causes a chain reaction. The banging of closing doors in an empty house, poison seeping from one heart to another, and then another, and then another, and then another. Because when you are hurt, it can be almost impossible not to let that hurt seep inside your body. Almost impossible not to use it to create a shell, a safety blanket, a warm hug keeping your insides in and the outside out. But it is possible. It is possible to heal and remember that you deserve to give your love freely. You deserve to spend your life on this beautiful planet, feeling as much as you can, sharing whatever you can, and loving everything that is deserving. We have so little time. We are always right on the precipice of new life and new adventure and new pain and new love, so I beg of you, tell the world you love it. Tell yourself you love you. Tell your family you love them. Tell your dog or your tree that's your favorite, or your best friend. Life will never be long enough, so love every single minute you can. Thank you.